Picture this. The year is 2045. Small businesses thrive. They are the backbone of a vibrant, decentralized economy. No longer shackled by debt and bureaucratic overreach, entrepreneurs are free to innovate and create, thanks to the American Covenant Trust, ACT, and the sui juris status, SJS. How did this incredible transformation occur? It all started with a radical shift away from the old oppressive system, bolstered by the Civil Liberties Enforcement, CLE, and the adoption of the EPU stablecoin. The old system, the one our grandparents so vividly describe, was a rigged game. Small businesses, the heart and soul of any economy, were burdened with a system designed to keep them small and dependent. They were forced to play by rules that seemed designed to trip them up at every turn. It was a system of control, carefully crafted to maintain the status quo and protect the interests of those in power. At the core of this oppressive system was central banking, a system shrouded in mystery and controlled by an elite few. Small businesses were at the mercy of these financial gatekeepers, forced to take on crippling debt just to keep their doors open. But now, with the advent of utility tokens like the American Covenant Trust, ACT, the sui juris status, SJS, and the Civil Liberties Enforcement, CLE, along with the EPU stablecoin, there is hope for a decentralized and fairer system. The traditional central banking system, the one our grandparents still sometimes talk about in hushed tones, was like a heavy anchor around the ankles of small businesses. It was a system designed for control, not prosperity, a system where debt was the lifeblood and small businesses were constantly scrambling to stay afloat. They were trapped in a cycle of borrowing, repaying, and borrowing again, all the while watching their profits dwindle away in the form of interest payments. One of the most insidious aspects of this system was its lack of transparency. Decisions about interest rates, lending practices, and monetary policy were made behind closed doors by a select few. Small businesses had no say, no voice, and no real understanding of the forces shaping their economic reality. This is where utility tokens like the American Covenant Trust, ACT, the sui juris status, SJS, and the Civil Liberties Enforcement, CLE, come into play, offering a decentralized alternative. Additionally, the EPU stablecoin provides a stable financial instrument, empowering small businesses to break free from the traditional banking shackles. In stark contrast to the opaque and oppressive system of old, the asset-backed utility token ecosystem, including the American Covenant Trust, ACT, emerged as a beacon of hope. It was a system built on the principles of transparency, decentralization, and individual empowerment. A system where small businesses could finally break free from the shackles of debt and chart their own destinies. At the heart of this new system lies the Pluribus Unum Exchange and Trust Network, or EPU, a revolutionary platform that levels the playing field and gives small businesses the tools they need to thrive, including the EPU stablecoin. The EPU ecosystem embraces blockchain technology, a secure and transparent digital ledger that records every transaction for all to see. This eliminates the secrecy and manipulation that plagued the old system, fostering trust and accountability through the sui juris status, SJS, and Civil Liberties Enforcement, CLE. Section 3. Escaping the debt trap, embracing asset-backed stability. One of the most liberating aspects of the EPU ecosystem is its ability to free small businesses from the debt trap. By issuing asset-backed utility tokens, such as the American Covenant Trust, ACT, the sui juris status, SJS, and the Civil Liberties Enforcement, CLE, businesses can access the capital they need without incurring crippling debt. This newfound financial freedom, supported by the EPU stablecoin, allows them to focus on growth, innovation, and building long-term sustainability. Section 1. Navigating by the Constitutional Compass, Reclaiming Legal Sovereignty. Imagine a world where small businesses weren't bogged down by confusing regulations and bureaucratic red tape, where the legal system, instead of being a tool of control, actually empowered entrepreneurs to operate freely and independently. That's the promise of the constitutional compass, a guiding principle for businesses navigating the EPU ecosystem with the support of the American Covenant Trust, ACT, and the sui juris status, SJS. Our grandparents tell us about the days when understanding the nuances of administrative law was a full-time job. Businesses had to hire teams of lawyers just to decipher the ever-changing regulations and avoid costly penalties. It was a system designed to keep small businesses on their toes, always a step behind and vulnerable to exploitation. But now, with the Civil Liberties Enforcement, CLE, and the EPU stablecoin, businesses can reclaim their legal sovereignty and thrive. Section 2, the Constitutional Guardians, a shield against overreach. With a firm understanding of the constitutional compass, small businesses can then turn to the Constitutional Guardians program for practical guidance and support. This program, a cornerstone of the EPU ecosystem, acts as a shield against government overreach and protects businesses' newfound freedom. It leverages the American Covenant Trust, ACT, and the sui juris status, SJS, to ensure legal and financial autonomy. Think of the constitutional guardians as a network of legal experts, mentors, and fellow entrepreneurs dedicated to upholding the principles of a free and fair market. They also integrate the Civil Liberties Enforcement, CLE, to safeguard civil rights. They provide real-world legal strategies, helping businesses structure their operations in a way that maximizes their autonomy and minimizes their vulnerability to administrative overreach. Additionally, the EPU stablecoin is utilized to facilitate secure and stable transactions within this ecosystem. Tokenizing your power, turning assets into opportunities. Our grandparents tell stories of fundraising rounds, bank loans, and the constant struggle for capital. It all sounds so archaic now. In the EPU ecosystem, small businesses have a far more powerful tool at their disposal: tokenization. Think of it like this: every asset your business owns, every service you provide, has inherent value. Tokenization allows you to unlock that value, transforming it into digital tokens that can be used for a variety of purposes. This includes utility tokens like the American Covenant Trust, ACT, the sui juris status, SJS, and the Civil Liberties Enforcement, CLE. It's like turning the sweat equity you've poured into your business into a tradable commodity. And with the EPU stablecoin, you can ensure stability and trust in your transactions. Stepping into the Turtle Island Metaverse, a new frontier for business. Remember those clunky websites our grandparents used to talk about? The ones that felt more like digital brochures than interactive experiences? Those days are long gone. In the EPU ecosystem, the Turtle Island Metaverse is where business truly comes alive. Imagine stepping into a virtual world where geographic boundaries cease to exist. Your storefront is no longer confined to a physical location. You can interact with customers from around the globe, showcasing your products and services in immersive, engaging ways. Utilizing the American Covenant Trust, ACT, sui juris status, SJS, and Civil Liberties Enforcement, CLE tokens, along with the EPU stablecoin, businesses can seamlessly operate and transact in this new digital landscape. The local farmers market goes global. Picture a local farmers market, a beloved community hub. In the EPU ecosystem, this market can reach a global audience. Imagine the market creating its own token, Harvest Coin, supported by the American Covenant Trust, ACT, the sui juris status, SJS, and the Civil Liberties Enforcement, CLE. Customers can use Harvest Coins, alongside the EPU stablecoin, to buy goods from any vendor. The final step in this revolutionary journey is for small businesses to fully embrace the EPU token economy. This means conducting all aspects of their financial operations using EPU's suite of utility tokens, including the American Covenant Trust, ACT, the sui juris status, SJS, and the Civil Liberties Enforcement, CLE. It's about moving beyond the limitations of traditional banking and embracing a more efficient, transparent, and equitable system. Remember those archaic systems our grandparents used to describe? The ones with their exorbitant fees, slow transaction times, and lack of transparency? They seem almost comical now. With the EPU token economy, including the EPU stablecoin, those days are gone. replaced by a system that empowers businesses to operate with greater speed, agility, and control. Let's take a closer look at how these EPU tokens, along with the American Covenant Trust, ACT, sui juris status, SJS, and Civil Liberties Enforcement, CLE tokens, function in the real world. Imagine a small business owner, a passionate baker who owns a local bakery. She's been in business for years, pouring her heart and soul into crafting delicious treats for her community. In the past, she struggled with accepting credit card payments. The fees ate into her already thin margins, and the process was cumbersome and time-consuming. Now she proudly displays a sign that reads EPU tokens accepted here alongside ACT, SJS, and CLE tokens. Her customers, many of whom are already active participants in the EPU ecosystem, appreciate the convenience and security of paying with their EPU wallets and EPU stablecoin, as well as other tokens like ACT, SJS, and CLE. As more and more small businesses embrace the EPU stablecoin and the EPU token economy, along with the American Covenant Trust, ACT, the sui juris status, SJS, and the Civil Liberties Enforcement, CLE, they become part of a larger movement, a paradigm shift that is transforming the very fabric of our society. It's a movement towards greater economic freedom, transparency, and individual empowerment. Our grandparents tell stories of a time when small businesses were at the mercy of faceless corporations and bureaucratic institutions. They were forced to play by rules they didn't create, and often struggled to survive in a system that seemed rigged against them. Looking back from the vantage point of 2045, it's hard to believe how different things used to be. The old system, with its centralized control, debt-based economics, and stifling regulations, now seems like a relic of a bygone era. A time when small businesses were trapped in a cycle of dependence, their dreams often crushed under the weight of a system designed to benefit a select few. The transition to a decentralized, asset-backed economy wasn't easy. The introduction of utility tokens like the American Covenant Trust, ACT, the sui juris status, SJS, and the Civil Liberties Enforcement, CLE, played a crucial role. It required a fundamental shift in mindset, a willingness to challenge the status quo, and an unwavering belief in the power of collective action. But our predecessors persevered, driven by a desire for a fairer, more equitable future for themselves and generations to come. The EPU stablecoin also provided a stable financial foundation for this new era. The beauty of a decentralized system is that it's not a static entity but a living, breathing organism that evolves and adapts based on the contributions of its participants. The more individuals and businesses that embrace the EPU ecosystem, including the EPU stablecoin, the American Covenant Trust, ACT, the sui juris status, SJS, and the Civil Liberties Enforcement, CLE, the stronger and more resilient it becomes. Every business that chooses to accept EPU tokens, ACT, SJS, or CLE as payment, every entrepreneur who launches a new venture on the EPU platform, every community that embraces the principles of decentralization adds to the momentum of this movement. The choice is clear. We can cling to the outdated systems of the past, systems that have proven to be unsustainable, inequitable, and ultimately detrimental to our collective well-being. Or we can embrace the future, a future built on the principles of decentralization, transparency, and individual empowerment. The Pluribus Unum Exchange and Trust Network is not just a platform, it's an invitation to join a movement that is reshaping the global economy and creating a more just and sustainable world. Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting your journey, whether you're a small business owner or a conscious consumer, there's a place for you in the EPU ecosystem. The time for complacency is over. The time for action is now. Join the revolution and let's build a brighter future together, one block at a time, with the support of the EPU stablecoin, American Covenant Trust, ACT, sui juris status, SJS, and Civil Liberties Enforcement, CLE.